Alright, guys. We're at that time of the year, I guess, when we need to talk about Zelda remakes. So, this is coming off the back of last week's video, my June predictions. Because I think everybody believes it's now or never for Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD to get ported over to the Switch. Now, I did this video probably 4 years ago, give or take. I don't really know. I should check the date. But there was a big hubbubaloo of Ocarina of Time getting remade to the Switch. And at the time, there were people saying, no, it's definitely not happening. There were people saying, yes, this is definitely happening. And those camps were divided into, is it just an HD remake, or are we just taking the 3DS port and basically porting that over without the 3D capabilities? Is it just like how we did Super Mario 64 in the All-Star Collection? Are we just getting the game? And, I told you guys don't believe any of the rumors until they come out, because as it stands, it never got released for the Switch. Number 1 on my list was Adventures of Link, and number 2 on my list was Skyward Sword. I was saying both of those games needed attention way before Ocarina of Time got attention. So we're going to redo the list. Skyward Sword obviously got remade. That was my number 2. It is out of here. I've changed my number 1. So this list is going to be different. If you've been a long-time viewer, you watched this video a few years ago. It's going to be a little different. Some of the entries haven't changed much. Some have. So, with that in mind, my number 5 is going to be Adventures of Link. And you may be asking yourself, how did that go from number 1 suddenly to number 5? And the reason being, we're just too late in the Switch's lifespan here. I think there's not going to be a lot of new releases. We know Pokemon ZA, or however they're calling it. We know about that one. I think almost every other game, at least major game, is going to be some form of remake. With that in mind, I think if they came out in this June Direct and said, hey, our big Black Friday, holiday, Christmas release is an Adventure of Link port, that would fall so flat with consumers and investors. Now, I will say, it, maybe more than any other Zelda game, needs some form of remake, some form of quality of life improvements. I'm not saying it needs... Well, a lot of people said Ocarina of Time. I think even Miyamoto said this. Ocarina of Time was that 3D remake of Adventures of Link. And if that's the case, alright, we'll just leave it alone. Maybe it's best to just leave Adventures of Link dead. But it's actually a fun, misunderstood game. But I'm not like the most hardcore thrill seeker. So when I play it, play with save states, yada yada yada, and I actually have fun with it. But if they could bring that to the Switch with maybe a little bit of enhanced graphics, those quality of life improvements, and just tone down the difficulty a little bit, yeah, hardcore gamers would be upset. But I mean, there's only like maybe 4 people in the whole world that say Adventures of Link is their favorite Zelda game, so I think it'd be for the better of for Adventures of Link if they just brought it over with all the bells and whistles and said, here you go, now you guys can actually play and enjoy this game. I think it desperately needs help. It's the black sheep of the Zelda family, and almost nobody has played it, so I don't know. I think it needs some kind of love, or we just need to abandon it altogether. Now, number 4, this is the entry that replaces Skyward Sword, since Skyward Sword got a remake. This is where everybody, because I did not have Twilight Princess or Wind Waker HD in my video. I said I just do not believe that rumor. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I still really don't believe that rumor. It has been a rumor for, I think it predates COVID, but I could be wrong. I just don't believe it, but a lot of YouTubers are trying to sell you that dream. If it's going to get remade, this is where it's at, number 4. Now, I personally think it'd be kind of cooler to see like a Link to the Past, or Yeah, I think A Link to the Past would be a good one. They're both kind of tricky. I think Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD is the bigger sell, the easier sell. Like, hey, you know, these games were great on the Wii U. They really were. They're like the best 2 games on the Wii U. Let's just port them over so that the Switch is like this ultimate Zelda playing machine. And they could absolutely do that. And I think that's what they should do. If I'm just being honest with you guys, I think that's what they should do. I think it's what the community expects. I think those are the easiest games. If you put those 2 games together, you could probably get away with putting 70 on it. And a lot of people didn't play the Wii U. And I did. They're awesome on the Wii U. That's why I've said, like, dude, at the time, these games have just been HDified and brought over to the Wii U with quality of life improvements. They're awesome. They didn't need a remake. I still don't really think they need a Wii make. But I think out of all the Zelda games left, there's only one that's a bigger seller than those 2. So I personally would like to see A Link to the Past. I guess it got a GBA release forever ago. So it would be cool to get that one with like HD enhanced graphics and now the portability of being on the Switch and the modern day convenience. I think A Link to the Past would be great. But I think a safer bet, if they're going to do anything, is Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. So, I don't think it's needed. That's why I really haven't put it on these lists. I don't even really believe the rumors. But I think there's just nothing in the chamber. They have nothing lined up. So, saying this is our Black Friday game, I think will move units. I'm just going to say that. I think it would be their most successful option. Coming in at number 3 is maybe the one I want the most. Minish Cap, guys. I love Minish Cap. You know, I did this short where I shut off the manual. I love that game so much. I said I think it could be a top 5 Zelda game. Maybe number 5. But it's got Wind Waker graphics with that old school like Link to the Past kind of play style. I think the items in it are awesome. The dungeons in it are pretty good. The Kinstones are a fun little unique mechanic to it. And I don't know how many people have played it. I forget the stat. I had it in the other video. At the time, I said I think the GBA had sold maybe 80 million units. And the Switch up to that point had sold 50 million units. And I said soon the Switch sales will dwarf the GBA. And now the Switch has sold, last I looked, it was like over 140 units. And all that to say, I think Minish Cap is great, but I question how many Zelda fans, especially if you got in with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, or even the Wii U era, how many of you guys have played Minish Cap? Probably not that many, and it's a game that I grew up on. It was a staple for my GBA, and I kind of would love to revisit it. Now, I also went on to say that I think every GBA style game deserves to be brought over to the Switch. I really do. I think they all deserved a nice little polish and being put on the Switch, and I figured that wasn't very hard for them to do. I figured it might even be a yearly thing when we got Link's Awakening. Next year do Minish Cap. Next year do, Link to the Past. Eventually Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I don't know how hard these games are to develop since they're ports. But I thought it was going to be a yearly thing because at the end of the day, I do think Link's Awakening did pretty good. I think people were a little... excuse that. I think people were a little ajarred at first by the art style, and I think people got over it. And I think it will be remembered fondly over time. So I just thought, well, let's just do this with every Zelda game. I mean, I really thought they could put every Zelda game on the Switch, and why not? The Switch is gonna end up going for 9 years. Could have at least got a Zelda game a year, maybe. I don't know, but Minish Cap is awesome, and I'd love to see it on here. Now I'm switching things up. Even in my heart of hearts, I don't necessarily believe this or even necessarily want this, but I think we just gotta again be true to the idea that the rest of the Switch's lifespan is going to be ports and remakes, and Nintendo I argue that they kind of need a strong end of the year or even strong into the lifespan here to keep people rallying into the Switch 2. Now, someone made the point the Wii U was an absolute disaster, and look how well the Switch did. I agree with that, but imagine if all your gamers are excited going into the Switch 2. Not to mention with Sony's state of play, I think Sony's a little vulnerable right now. Their lineup, if I'm being frank, wasn't that great. If the Switch was able to really capitalize on a moment of weakness, which I guess we'll see what Microsoft does. I think they have a showcase here soon as of the recording of this. Nintendo could be the better selling console this holiday season, which would be wild because Nintendo is going to be kind of running on fumes at that point heading into the Switch 2. But number 2, I got Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. This was my number 3 last time. They moved up by virtue of Skyward Sword being released, and I was going to put them at number 1 because I feel like due to the release model of Oracle of Ages being a game and Oracle of Seasons being a game, how many people really played the complete experience? I know I did not. I think if anything, I got one and my brother got the other, if anything. But these are definitely 2 of the Zelda games I have lesser experience with. I don't know if I ever beat this one as a kid. It just is like not quite a fever dream. Like I remember going to Target, my mom buying this. I just don't remember really ever beating it. And kind of by that token is why I want to see it remade so bad. Like I did not play this one a lot. I definitely didn't beat it, but I remember it being so cool as a kid. I loved the handheld Zelda games at the time. I'm not sure why. We had consoles, and I definitely loved like Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, but I just have a fondness for the handheld Zelda games, and this is the one I probably have the least experience with. Maybe even less than Zelda 2, So I would love to see Oracle of Ages and Oracle Seasons get a single package release, and that's the thing. I don't know if they would do that. Would they really be like, here's our holiday push? Oracle of Ages $60, Oracle of Seasons $60. Would they both be $40? I don't know how they would do it. Maybe they'd do like the 2-pack like Pokemon has been doing since here of late. I don't know how they would do it. This is just a game that, I consider myself a hardcore Zelda fan. These are just hard to find, hard to get your hands on. I don't think I own them right now. They may be the only Zelda games that I do not own. I guess I don't own Minish Cap right now. I really want Minish Cap. See, these games are just hard to find. I would love to get them on the Switch. Now, you can make the same argument that a lot of people did not play the 3DS ones. Or the DS, Spirit Tracks, and Phantom's Hourglass. A lot of people probably did not play those either. So in my mind, it's all about getting the next generation of kids to play these Zelda games and have some kind of connection to them. Because, now that I think about it, Spirit Tracks and Phantom's Hourglass are definitely the 2 Zelda games I have the least experience with. So it's Merry Christmas Land, but I just think all the handheld Zelda games had such a smaller install base. Like, get them on the Switch, They're the ones that need remakes more than Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, but I just don't think they would sell as well as the 2 previously mentioned or number 1. And at this point, you can probably guess number 1. It's not going to be that big of a surprise. It was number 4 on my last list because I do want it, but again, this game has already had a remake, and that's Ocarina of Time. I know, real shocker, real upset story here. Ocarina of Time winning the Zelda game that needs to be remade. And I don't even necessarily believe it, guys. It's all about timing here. We got to get one of these Zelda games, right? They got to have Zelda as a part of their holiday release plan. That's, I guess if I had to explain it, guys, the way I look at it is like, if we're just getting remakes, we need one of those remakes to be able to carry a holiday season. And I think Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess are capable of doing that. And I think, did I say that right? Wind Waker and Twilight Princess? And I think Ocarina of Time could do it. I really do think that they maybe Maybe all they do is slap a new coat of paint like the 3DS. And maybe they do the quality of life, like having the iron boots always set, so you're not having to, so that the water temple is kind of manageable, right? And maybe that's all they do, and hey, now you have the ability to play on the big screen and on the go. Obviously, with the N64, you can play on the big screen. The 3DS, you can play on the go. Now with the Switch, you can do both. Maybe that's all they do. They slap $60 on it, and they say, hey, we're releasing this alongside some other remakes, like maybe Metroid 2, or maybe Luigi's Mansion 1, or something, right? And they say, here's our holiday season. And maybe that's good enough now that you've got Ocarina of Time. I just don't think it really needs the remake. I will say, I did eventually want it on the Switch. Again, this is like a Nintendo fanboy, Zelda fanboy, Merry Christmas land of having all your favorite Zelda games be playable on one console. That way I'm not having to constantly go play, other systems. But Ocarina of Time has definitely seen a lot of love. It got the Master Quest, which released it with the Master Quest version of the game, right? It got the Zelda Collector's Edition, where that was 4 Zelda games. So Ocarina of Time got released on the GameCube twice. It also got released on the N64 twice with the Collector's Edition. And it got the 3DS remake. So there are other Zelda games that need it more, but I'm thinking strategically for Nintendo here of like, what do they have left in the chamber for the Switch's going away party? And I think Ocarina of Time HD for the Switch is probably their best bet this holiday season. Again, Twilight Princess and... if they do Twilight Princess and Wind Waker as a single bundle, then yeah, that probably would do it. But that's how I see it, guys. I would much rather have like a Minish Cap, an Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Phantom's Hourglass. I would much rather the handheld games get ported to the Switch because they actually need to be on a better console. They actually need quality of life improvements or updated graphics or the ability to play them on the big screen, right? They need that stuff. Ocarina of Time doesn't need any of that. But I am thinking from a business perspective, Nintendo kind of needs a bang this holiday season. I think they can absolutely capitalize on the fact that I don't think Sony or Microsoft are going to have a stellar lineup this holiday season. So that's my opinion, guys. In your opinion, what Zelda games need remade the most, or your predictions? What games are most likely to be released? So I still don't know if I believe the rumors for Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, or Ocarina of Time, but I think they definitely constitute a pretty strong showing this holiday season leading into the Switch 2. So thank you anybody who watched. If you're a Zelda fan, leave a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you guys. Like always, keep an eye out for polls and shorts. We're trying to do a lot of that here on the channel. You guys can actually sway and influence these top 5s. So again, thank you everybody for watching. I hope we have a great June Direct next week. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.